What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, we are going to look at the question of what's going to happen to buyer agents. Are they going to go away? Stand by for the next episode of the HyperFast Agent Show. All right, welcome to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Today, we're looking at something that's been in the headlines ever since the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, settlement has been out. There are newspapers and all sorts of, so-and-so experts, many who've never sold a home, by the way, predicting that buyer agents are going to go away, right? Because we've had these changes come out, and a lot of the changes have been mischaracterized as well. I've seen everything from people saying that commissions are finally negotiable, even though they've been negotiable the whole time along, and there's already a lot of different companies offering a wide range of fees and services. We've seen things such as sellers no longer have to pay a buyer agent commission, even though they've never had to pay a buyer agent commission. And in fact, in most cases, they were agreeing to a commission with the listing agent, and the listing agent was then sharing part of that commission with the buyer agent. But put all of that aside, right? There's been this doomsday reports out there that says like half of real estate agents are going to go away. Buyers agents are no longer going to be needed. And so we're going to take a look at that today, right? Are buyers agents going to go extinct? My take on it is that they are not, especially the good ones, right? I think for agents that in the past, right, were somewhat of an order taker, and that they would just go open doors for buyers, write contracts, and take whatever compensation was unilaterally offered in the MLS, right? And many of these agents, even though it was the best practice, did not spend the time up front meeting with their buyers, going over the process, reviewing how they'll help them, getting a needs analysis done, trying to narrow down their search based on actual data, right? All these things you do up front to add value and educate them and make the process better. Many of these agents weren't doing, and they were not getting buyer agent agreements up front. So they weren't, coming to an agreement on what representation would look like, what their fees were. They were just hoping to, in many cases, set them up on a search, show them homes, write an offer, and then take whatever was offered as compensation in the MLS, right? So I think for the agents that operated like that, they may lose business, they may go away, they may struggle. But I think the agents that are good are actually going to gain market share and are going to thrive, and they're going to also be more needed, right? So what does a good real estate agent do when they're working with a buyer? Well, number one is they don't just rush out and open doors for them, all right? Now, maybe on the first meeting you do that because that's how that buyer prospect came in, like they requested to see a certain home. And I think if that's the case, you tell them like, look, I'd love to show you this home. I certainly will, but either before we see that home or right after, would love to meet with you for 30 minutes to an hour and really educate you on how I work, how I see the local market working, best practices I've seen, and how I can add value and make this a home search process for you that will save you time, money, stress, and hassle, right? That's I think how you handle a buyer lead that comes in that wants to see a house right away. So getting back to what a good agent does, they have this consultative meeting up front, right? Whether the buyer has bought multiple homes before, chances are they're not buying the same market, they're not buying the same area. The rules are constantly changing. The market's constantly changing. So having this educational meeting up front is, a no-brainer. You need to do it right? And this is what a good agent will do. So you're going to have that meeting. You're going to review the buying process. You're going to review how you work. You're going to do a needs analysis, right? Like, are you buying for primary, secondary home, investment home, Airbnb, long-term rental, short-term rental, flip, right? Why are you buying? What are you looking for? What area is your buy box? How big do you need, right? What kind of features do you need? How old, how new, et cetera, right? You determine that, and then you actually do what we call a reality check analysis. Now, for many of you, if you have not seen our 9-part buyer agent series, right? This used to be something you could only get as a course, right? It's called Master the Buyer Game. Carrie Shaw, HyperFast Agent, used to just be a course. Last year, about almost 11 months ago, we put it out on YouTube and on this podcast on iTunes. You can listen to, it's like we broke up into 9 parts. It's called Master the Buyer Game, parts 1 through 9. Go back and watch that. You can learn exactly how we've been handling buyer clients for the last 10 years, closing thousands of them. And because of that, the changes that we're going to have to make on our team are minimal, right? Because we've already been doing a lot of this. But you want to do this buyer reality check analysis up front, where you take their criteria, you search back 12 months, and you see what sold, right? If nothing sold that met their criteria, it means they need to adjust their parameters, like either their price, their location, or their size and features, right? One of those categories has to be adjusted. And the good thing about you doing this up front is you are letting the data, you are letting the market, you are letting reality be the bad guy, not you. You're not showing them things that kind of meet what they want, but not really, or not sending them listings, right? You're showing them up front like, hey, I entered this data in based on what you told me. Nothing came up. What do you want to adjust? Do you want to be in a different location? Do you want to expand your geographic area? Do you want to go up in price? Do you want, would a 3-bedroom work instead of a 4-bedroom, right? You need to have these conversations up front. Then you can really hone in on what they want, if it's available, likelihood of, it coming up, how many homes in that buy box typically will come up per month. Like, this is all good stuff to do with your clients. And you also present how you work, right? We like to review the 12 decision points of the offer, right? So all the things that they might have to think about in an offer, like the closing time frame, if there's a rent back, EMD size, deposit size, financing, appraisal contingencies, home inspection contingencies, escalation, all the different ways that you can compete on an offer other than price, right? So the terms matter. The more you educate them up front, then you're putting them in a position where they have all this knowledge, they can think about it before they see the home that they really like. And the more of this you can do up front, the more value they are going to see you delivering. And then when you have the conversation about your fees, it's going to be a lot easier, right? And we have always got the buyer agreement signed up front. And so that part doesn't change for us, right? Now the part that changes for us is, we're not always going to know going into the offer how much of that fee may or may not be covered by the seller or the listing agent. So, the rule change is that the sellers can no longer, listing agent can no longer put in the MLS like, hey, I'm offering this fee to any buyer's agent, right? That universal offer is gone. So some agents may have the authority from their seller to change the offer based on, how good of an agent you are or are perceived in the market, right? So that could be one change. Some sellers might advertise that they're going to pay a certain amount towards buyer closing costs, right? Like that can be a listing, an advertising, a marketing enhancement. It can't necessarily say that it's going to the buyer agent fee. All right, so you're going to have some scenarios where that's advertised, some where you call the listing agent up and they say, yeah, I'll share X amount with you, and some where you're going to have to use the offer to negotiate the terms, and that may or may not be successful, and some situations where the seller and the listing agent aren't paying anything, and the buyer's going to have to figure it out, and then you're going to have to get creative on how to structure that to make it affordable for them and to make it match the value you're giving, and can it come from the lender, right? So I think this is all, we've inserted complexity into the system and we've decreased transparency, and I think those things are overall negative for the consumer, and I think it's an opportunity for good agents right, that are good at navigating complex situations and that are good at navigating situations where transparency may not be there, I think that will benefit really good agents. So we're going to see potentially less marginal agents, less lower skilled agents, and the agents that have higher skills, the agents that are really good at negotiating, advocating, presenting value, and navigating more complex situations, they're going to actually see their market share go up, right? So buyer's agents aren't going away. Marginal agents are probably going to decline in the market share that they have as a group, and higher skilled agents are going to get more market share. So this is an opportunity for you to upgrade your skills, upgrade the value that you deliver to your buyers, and get more market share. Now, if you are a real estate agent and you want to get access to all of the coaching programs that Carrie Scholl and I have created, you can do that. You can get it for absolutely free if you are an agent that decides to partner with us at eXp Realty. When you partner with Carrie Scholl and I, right, you're getting access to agents with billions of dollars in sales, agents that have coached realtors all over the world, agents that are top sponsoring agents at eXp. And we're going to give you, on top of all the amazing eXp benefits, we're going to give you the coaching and training to sell more homes, to build revenue share, to increase your net income, increase your net worth, increase your time off, while getting access to the amazing eXp Realty platform. So if you want to have a conversation about what it's like to be sponsored by Carrie Scholl and I at eXp Realty, send me a text message at 703-638-4393. Yes, this is my real phone, 703-638-4393. Send me a text message and let's talk about what a partnership at eXp Realty would look like. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the HyperFast Show. We will see you next time.